Hello, everyone. Welcome here to the Eindhoven Innovation Café. Also welcome to everybody who is watching online. For those who haven't been here before, the Eindhoven Innovation Café is a weekly networking event where we show what Eindhoven and surrounding has on offer in the fields of tech and design. And today we have Antonio here to tell us more about innovative ways of teaching languages, which I'm very excited about. Check out our weekly program on the internet, on the website ehvinnovationcafe.org. And there's a small practical thing. You're all very welcome to come and have a drink afterwards at the bar to carry on talking about the subject that we just heard about. You're also all very welcome to have dinner at the meetup table. There's a slight change in the price. The vegetarian meal is $17.50 and meat or fish is $19.50. And we also offer the chef's choice according to dietary wishes, and that'll be €22. But I'll leave it up to you now. Thank you.
Nice. Okay, good evening everyone. My name is Antonio and I'm the founder of Una Paloma Blanca language school, the fun, fast and efficient language school in Eindhoven. Why am I here tonight? Like, that was the first question that I asked to myself. We are here tonight because at the language school we do things differently. We innovate with language education so that our students can get the most out of their language experience while having lessons at Una Paloma Blanca. I would like to start this presentation with this is me again. I would like to start the presentation with the story of the language school. And it's that, Una Paloma Blanca was actually an accident. It was not meant to be, it was not planned. But it was one of those accidents that you are very grateful for, actually. Because when I first moved to the Netherlands, I came here to study. I did my second master, and actually I'm a musician. I did study music. And then I came to Rotterdam, to the conservatory, to do my second master's. I've been teaching all my life, but always in the music field. And then due to several circumstances in life, and of course because of love, then I ended up in Eindhoven. And then I thought, okay, what am I gonna do here now? Because I'm an international, I'm a newcomer to the city. I want to mingle in the city. How can I best integrate? And then because I had already some experience teaching Spanish in Rotterdam at the international school, then I thought, okay, the easiest and the quickest to make some money is if I just start teaching Spanish until I can learn some Dutch, and then I can maybe make my living from the music world, because I knew I had to be able to speak Dutch in order to get a job in the music industry. So here in Eindhoven, in the city center, we rented this very, very, very small office space in the Pace Hofland, where I would start teaching my Spanish lessons, and within 2-3 months I was fully booked. So that was already quite impressive. And then I had to hire another Spanish teacher that would join me in this journey and help me with the lessons. So the Spanish teacher came, and at that time, one of our very good Dutch friend also said to me, Antonio, shouldn't I teach Dutch to foreigners in the same way you teach Spanish? Hi, welcome, please take a seat. Shall I start again? No, it's a joke. Should I teach Dutch to foreigners or to internationals in the same way you teach Spanish to Dutch people? Then I thought, that's a very good idea, actually. And then, in that tiny classroom, we were with the three of us. But then, of course, immediately it became a chaos because, for example, I was finished with my lessons at 4 o'clock, but then it's never 4 o'clock, it's like 10 past 4. And then the next lesson with the next teacher starts at 4, and then they already have a delay, and the delay keeps on going until the end of the evening, and then the students were mad. And at that time, in the same building, there was an entire floor available. And me, together with my partner, we made some calculations, and then we thought, okay, fuck it, it's now or never. Let's do it, and let's see what happens. So that was Una Paloma Blanca back in 2016. And now, after all this corona craziness, we have a school here in Eindhoven. There is another school in Rotterdam. We have about 1,000 students that on a weekly basis visit our schools, our classrooms, a team of over 45 native teachers, experts, that help us teaching the language with a very nice project that we all believe in. And then the question is, how did this happen? How did this all start? And that's a very good question, actually, because the first thing we had to think about was Eindhoven. It all started here. And the question is, what's Eindhoven? I don't know if you can help me with this question. What do you think Eindhoven is? We are not shy, eh? I need to get the microphone for the YouTubers.
It's a big village.
And what happens in Eindhoven?
A lot and too little. It's a bit of political answer. Of course, the most prominent things here are the high-tech industry and, of course, design.
High-tech, eh?
High-tech and design. So there are two main, and sports also with the PSV and some other. So.
Nice. Do you like football?
I quite like it, yes. I'm not a huge fan, but I like it. I don't hate it. So.
Nice. Anyone else? Something to add? No. Yeah, so indeed is what Steven said. Hey Nane, welcome. So, this way. So Eindhoven is technology, Eindhoven is design, and Eindhoven is knowledge. So the question is, how can we implement this into the language school? As I said before, the slogan of the school is the fun, fast, and efficient language school. So this is our connection. We want to integrate, we want to mingle those three words within these three terms. And this is what we are going to explain next. So technology. Technology we want to associate with, the other way, with fun. Educational games and activities are an essential feature of lessons at UPV. How do we make that possible? How do we integrate that? This is Sonia, by the way. In all our classrooms we use digiboards. Of course, digiboards bring an extra dimension into the classroom because we all know how digiboards work, right? So it's a huge tablet that brings extra possibilities that you don't have if you cannot use one of them. So this allows the students to get other possibilities within the classrooms. Next to this, we also have developed our own UPV brain training. What's the UPV brain training? This is an online environment where the students, before or after their lessons, they can keep practicing what they have learned. This also helps them improving much quicker than actually with regular lessons, because exactly what they have seen or what they have learned during the lesson, they can keep practicing and improving afterwards. And then we go to fast. So if we can recall, then we said we had technology, design, and knowledge. So the fast for us is the design. And tonight we are at Caserne. So I think that's a very good question. What's design? Can someone help me with that one? Dane, maybe you. What's design?
Crazy what's in your head, and then you put it out and reflect it with some people around you. I think that's for me design. Make beautiful things.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
something like that.
Can someone else help me with that? Also? Yeah. What's design, Harm?
Well, yeah, design I think is many different things, but I think in a lot of cases it's a very useful thing to communicate with, or to solve problems, or to think about issues in a different way than you normally would do.
Nice. Nice. Hi, welcome. Yeah, so that's it, right? Like, that's design, eh? Design is a plan to make something. A personalized approach allows our teachers to maximize each student's learning progress. The other way. How do we make that easier? We don't have living rooms. We don't have classrooms at the language school, but living rooms. So we want people to speak up, to get relaxed, to feel at home. Classrooms are boring. That's why we believe that another environment is also possible to be able to learn a language. I think I broke it.
Technology is also nice.
There we go. So this is how the living rooms look like. Of course, we cannot get rid of the whiteboard, and we need a table to work together. But indeed, we work on the feeling. Yes, efficient. The efficient is the knowledge part. Our engaging method focuses on conversational skills to help you make your learning goals a reality. This method part is very interesting because when the whole Una Paloma Blanca started, it was indeed only a Spanish language school. And then I signed up myself into another language school to do my very first Dutch course ever. And then this was my book. This was like one of the chapters. And I remember it was lesson number 1 or maybe lesson number 2, like one of the first words I got to learn was overladen. And then it was like, I think this is a word I really don't want to have into my warden's hat. I want to learn to say like nice things. I want to be able to go on a Saturday morning to the Woenselsmarkt and then do my groceries in Dutch. I want to go on Thursday evening to the vooruitgaan in the market and flirt with someone in Dutch, but I don't want gezondheid and overladen into my vocabulary, and certainly not with those illustrations of this poor guy, because it looks like a very old book, but actually this was a bestseller for people who was like for foreigners that are learning Dutch. And then the question was like, definitely there is a gap in the market that we can fill in, and there is a nice project that we can make out of it. How can we make language education fun, appealing, and interesting? So then we develop a whole series of books to learn languages. I brought some of them for you guys to look at. And how do we make this possible? We try to get rid of the concept of what a book is, because a book, especially if it's a learning book, is boring. But then we try to make a magazine, something that you really are not ashamed of, or that you can really take on your holidays, or that you can just open up on a random page, on a random day, and do some homework and keep practicing. Then we also play a lot with the colors, because how the memory works is like it works by recognition. So we differentiate the colors, so you can unconsciously, you know whether you are on the white pages or on the color pages, and then we separate the exercises from the grammar, for example. Also in between, because what do magazines have? They are full of advertisement. We cannot put advertisement, but what's an important part of the language? The sayings, the uitdrukking, and in that's right. So then they come also in different colors within the book. And these are the 3 topics that we develop within the language school to help people improving their language skills. Yeah. Thank you very much. I don't know if you have questions, guys. Oh. Let me get you.
Thanks for the presentation. Books look really nice. Huh? I want to challenge the fast.
Okay.
Is fast really a good way to learn? I understand the desire, huh? Of course. I want to know it in no time. But is that really a good way to learn? Shouldn't it be slow?
Why? Sorry, I didn't answer your question.
Slow, so you know, rushing through it is maybe reflects the desire of most people that they immediately want to be able to speak a foreign language, huh? But isn't putting emphasis on doing it very slowly, and maybe also inefficient? Yeah? Isn't learning about inefficiency? Huh? Where usually when a failure is usually an opportunity to learn something.
Uh-huh.
So is the emphasis on fast marketing, or is it really possible?
That's a very good question. I'm gonna try to answer it good. It is a necessity of people. Like now we live in a society where we all want to do it quick and to be done ASAP. So that's also what we try to do with the experience, with the trajectory of a student that comes to the language school. What I always say to the students is like, the magic stick doesn't exist. This is not that you pay and you get it. You have to work for it. What does fast mean? If fast means that you are going to spend 4 hours per day learning the language that you sign up for, then yes, it is possible. That's fast. If you have the time to do it, that's how it works. That's the best. Because at the end, to learn a language is like playing an instrument. It's something that you have to start doing eventually and then keep practicing, else you will forget it.
What would you call fast? Or not fast?
Fast for me is to have an stability, to have a rhythm.
Yeah, but in terms of time.
Yeah, that it really depends on the person. Like for some people, it goes really natural, and then.
That's what you should determine before you can talk about fast as well.
Yes, that's also a very good point. Yeah, that's what fast means, like the amount of time that you spend in it. Like, for example, when we talk about language education, there are some apps that say you will speak X language in 3 months. Sorry. That's not true. It's just not true. So.
Another question. What's the technology part of your approach?
Yeah, then we have the implementation that we do with the digiboards to bring the lessons into the next level, and the brain training. That's the online platform that we use. So this is how we physically bring technology into the classroom or into the language of learning progress of a student.
And this brain training part, can you talk about that also?
Yes, I unfortunately I don't have any slide with the brain training, but we have developed a platform together with Moodle that allows our students to keep improving what they have seen during the lesson. So that means, for example, if you are learning English and then today you were working on chapter 11, then you can go on this platform and then within your course you will see exercises that complement the exercises that you have been doing. So then you get something that is completely different, but helps you indeed repeating, memorizing, and improving your language skills.
Okay. You started off telling us about your music part of your life. Could you use this method for teaching music? Because music is a language on its own as well.
That's also interesting. I never thought that way, actually. The other way around, yes, so like how to bring the music education into the language learning, but from the language to the music, no. But for example, for me as a...
The method or your approach to learning, could you use it to teach music?
I'm just thinking about the technology part. Because music is physical.
Language as well. There is some, I'm also a music teacher, so there is some technology part. There are some platforms you can study music, but also the past 2 years has learned me and a lot of my students that like teaching online. Isn't that effective, and also isn't that nice as being in the same room physically, like all activities also.
That's true for a lot of things.
So, and I'm also now thinking about the question, of course I know exactly how the language, but I think it's a difficult way. Of course there are always possibilities to explore it.
Okay.
Maybe you can keep to music theory and what is possible.
But theory, of course, for also ear training. Okay. Of course, there are a lot of online platforms, paid or free. But what I think, mastering an instrument. You
Totally
have
agree. Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. Has something else. Cool. More questions? Oh, sorry.
I always have a lot of questions.
We'll come back. We'll come back in a sec.
So what's about the music, Una Paloma Blanca? How did you come up with that?
Yeah, the creator is behind you. It was not my idea. And
After the Dutch song?
yes. And then it is very interesting.
Terrible song, and you made it.
It is very interesting. It is a terrible song. Everybody hates it and loves it. It's a terrible song, and everybody hates it and loves it at the same time. So in the beginning, it was only Spanish language school. And then, for example, every time I had to call something that was very serious, and then they said, "Oh, but what's the name of the company?" And then I said, "Yeah, Una Paloma Blanca." Then everybody has to smile or to laugh, and then it's really, that's what it is.
That's a good name, but I like it.
That's what it is. That's the feeling we want to share. That's the vibe.
So that song, I suffer from that when you have one of these horrible songs in your head.
No, and after
You can't get rid of it.
no.
Do you see a chance to exploit that effect for the language learning?
Actually, you have a problem tonight because it's gonna come back.
Yeah, I know. Thanks.
Yeah.
So can you maybe exploit that for learning the language?
I would love to meet George Baker, and maybe we can do something together. But we didn't get that far yet. We didn't get that far.
Because I know already, maybe it's nice because you rusted it through the book, but like maybe it's interesting to tell like the intent that is behind the storylines and like.
Yeah, sorry.
And that explains also a little bit the past of the whole thing. So
Yeah.
that immediately you quite fast you learn your first words and you are able to express yourself. We're just ambassadors. No, that's not true. But it's that's also true. But it's the fast thing is also that you have very quickly you grasp the first sentences, words which you need if you come to a different country, you don't know anything to say. And that's, you're right. Tell a little bit more about it.
Yeah, this goes back to the story of this guy about the Gesondheid. So, the regular traditional Dutch books, they talk about nothing in particular. They just go like subject to subject without any connection. And then we thought, okay, we want to make something that that is real, that belongs to everybody that uses the book. And for example, for the Dutch collection, for the Let's Get Dutch, the book is a storyline about Francesco. Francesco is someone that comes from Italy to Eindhoven because he got a job here in a company. And then Francesco, he needs to get his first Airbnb apartment until he rents his first house, or he buys a house. Then he needs to buy his first tweede hands fiets. And then the tweede hands fiets is stolen, so now he needs to report it. And then he needs to make the OV chip card. So all the real things that you really need to know, and all the actual vocabulary that you want to learn at the moment that you need to do something at a certain time. That helps indeed. This goes together with the fast part. That helps indeed when you are learning a language, because you are identified with the topic, because it's you. And the same goes for English. No, of course we couldn't talk about English in Eindhoven because it's not everybody speaks English here, but it's not the native language. So then, with the English book, is a story, it's a trip of 3-4 friends that go through all the English-speaking countries in the world, and then they have like lots of adventures that can happen to anyone.
In developing this method,
Yes.
did you research any other language learning methods?
Yes, all of them. Yeah.
And did you incorporate or did you change your method accordingly?
No, well, there is something that we cannot hide, or that we cannot run away from, which is like the common European framework for language education, and that's what the methodology says. So, for example, for that book, that's A1. A1 needs to have certain content that belongs to the beginner's course of someone that is learning English.
Is that regulated?
Yeah, of course it's regulated. So then the only thing we've done is like we've put some makeup on top. We've made it fun. So instead of saying like, okay, now we are gonna learn the verb to be. I am, you are, he is.
And what if you do it totally different?
The story.
No, you say it's regulated. It's you have to do it like that?
No. What's regulated is the rules. The rules, that means like the grammar. Like there is certain grammar that you need to know at a certain level.
Okay.
I think the question is, do you have to follow the levels?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, because else like you need to have some order.
Yeah, but if you think of a different order, you could do it.
No, because then if you go to the school and then you want to learn Portuguese, then we need to start from the beginning, right? No?
If you have a totally different approach
Yes.
from what you do, you could do it.
But
I think that people who already speak a little bit of the language, I think it gets difficult to compare because the language levels in Europe are
I'm just trying to find out if it's mandatory or that you can just...
no, it's not. You can do anything you want. It's not mandatory. It's not, but we want to follow that. Like I think it's important to know like where you are at, right?
Yeah, so your customers are interested in obtaining a certain license.
Of course. No. And everybody likes progress, right? So you want to know like eventually you start on group 1, and after some time, after some courses, then you're at level 7.
But do you think you can teach a language without this systematic approach of teaching the grammar, and you were just communicating the verbs? So just by, learning phrases instead of vocabulary?
No.
Like a child is picking it up?
No. For grown-ups, you have to explain the grammar, because we reason, so we want the reason of why something is made on a certain way, right? Like it happens naturally. You can...
I would challenge that. So from a practical point of view, I could learn some phrases by heart, which I then use, and then maybe I can figure out the system behind it on my own, like a child. The child is also not learning the grammar, and yeah, that's very slow. I know. But so you do not recommend this to adults, such an approach?
Well, if you are thrown on a new country where that's the only language you can use, then it's perfect. Then it's the best way you can learn a language ever.
Yeah.
But then you need to have the time.
That's full immersion.
Yeah, yeah.
What I always find the hardest about learning a new language is you sort of get the course and you're like really into it and you sort of learn how to form phrases, but then when you stop the course and you're not like in an environment of people speaking that language, to keep on practicing the language, is that something you recognize with your students, and is that also something that you can sort of chip into with this way of...
To keep practicing the language.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, as I said before, like speaking a language is like playing an instrument. You need to keep practicing all the time, else you slowly forget it, especially when it comes to the vocabulary part.
Do you have something put in place for that?
Sorry?
Do you have something put in place for that?
Yeah, then we have the brain training. That's why it's called brain training. But then, for example, there is one part which is quite important that you cannot do with the brain training, which is the speaking. Of course, you can talk to the machine, but the machine is not going to answer. Of course, like you have apps like Duolingo that work also amazingly good, but you can also not do speaking. You can talk, but to the machine. But anyway, they help, especially to keep up the vocabulary. Sorry?
I just wanted to hook on what you were saying. Do you see competition from something like Duolingo? Because you said earlier that people want it fast. I also see that a lot of people rather not interact with another person than do. So I can imagine those people also go for Duolingo instead of...
There is no competition at all. It's a complete different business. The Duolingo at the end is... I've never met anybody who learned to speak a language from Duolingo. It helps, but at the end you need to practice. At the end you need someone to correct you. And Duolingo, well, everybody has Duolingo, right? So we don't need to explain it. So,
No, I was just yeah, I don't know the word in English. Need a course. For me also, I know I speak German, I speak English, and I'm Dutch. So that's 3 languages. I don't know the grammar for Dutch. I don't know the grammar for English. I don't know the grammar for German. I've learned them all basically by reading it a lot, listening to it a lot, trying to do it a lot, except for the word that I was trying to find out now. But for me, I could not technically do a language because that would be very hard for me. I learned from listening, and I think that the practicing part, I was in Spain a couple of years ago, and I never spoke a word Spanish before, and I'm trying to do now via Duolingo. But I just came back from Spain. But a couple of years ago, I found out I was with a couple of people from Barcelona there, and I found that I learned more and faster by just being submerged.
Definitely, that's the best way.
In the language, you have no safe place like, okay, what's this in English? I can go back to my English, or if you need to communicate, because basically that's why you want to learn a language in the first place, you want to communicate. And if that drive is immediate, then you will learn very fast that way. But for me, I could not learn a language basically from rules, because just like in Dutch, and I try to like verb, and I don't even know what these things are.
Yeah.
I sometimes try and look them up in a dictionary. Okay, verb is this, and present and past, but I just do it, and I hear most of the time. I make mistakes, obviously, but most of the time I hear if something is right or if it isn't right, and that's a reference basically that you build up from being exposed to a language a lot.
No, definitely. Like, for example, in your case, you Dutch people, like grown up like with Dutch is your mother language. English, you've had it also since the beginning, and begins also already with the television. Like you have the series, you have the movies.
I live near the border with Germany.
So that's why.
2 Dutch television stations and 3 German stations.
So then it's
they synchronized everything. They didn't do subtitles, so they synchronized. So everything I heard was German. So that was quite easy to just acquire the language that way. Yeah.
So that's the only reason. For example, with me, it's a completely different story. I'm Spanish, and for like native Spanish-speaking people, Spanish is the second most spoken language in the world, right? And everything we get is dubbed, like all the movies.
Yeah.
Like I always tell this story, but I think it's so funny. For example, Leo DiCaprio has a voice in Spain, so if we hear that voice in Spanish, we know that it's him. But of course, it's not him; it's someone else talking for him. I didn't know until I went abroad, or until I went like seriously into English language how the voice of Leo DiCaprio sounded like. Yeah. So for example, that made it much harder for me to learn a language. And then this you say is very interesting because, for example, for me also as Spanish, in Spain we really study the grammar, so we know all the terms. And this is also what happens, for example, when I had my course. Then on the first lesson, then they say, and now we gaan de voltooid tegenwoordige tijd. But that sounds boring already to say that word, right? So this is also what we try to push away from the books. We cannot hide it because it's necessary, especially when you try to teach high educated people. But it's very much true.
I want to come back to the practicing part because I hear from some non-Dutch friends that they come to Eindhoven and they want to learn the Dutch language, so they start from a course, or whatever. But it said, of course we can learn some Dutch, but in a society, when we start speaking to people, everybody starts speaking English back. Like also now you're getting presentation in English, and I was wondering during the presentation, why aren't you getting presentation in Dutch?
Is het een Nederlander? We kunnen doorgaan in het Nederlands.
So about the practicing part, I hear a lot of expat people complaining about they have little opportunity to practice.
Totally agree. This is a step that we always encourage the students to do this in society, and then I speak for myself. And the issue is like when you are learning the language and then you are at the beginning, when you try to have a little conversation with someone in Dutch, then you try, then you twijfel, then you make a mistake, and then they suddenly switch to English, and then you also think, and then you think like, oh, like nice, because then I feel confident because Dutch is not my language. You also feel confident because the conversation goes quicker, and then we are done, and then
you're both on the same level
yes,
because it's not your
exactly. So my tip for people that is learning Dutch is like when you hear this English back, just keep going in Dutch, keep doing mistakes, and then eventually they will go back to Dutch as well. But then to cross that barrier is very difficult. And I talk for me with myself, for example, with Harm. At home we speak English because it's the language we met with. And then, for example, if I go to his family, everybody's able to speak English, and in the beginning the communication was in English, but then eventually then we made the switch and then it's done.
Yeah, or you get it afterwards.
Also.
All right, well,
That's
let's round it all off, I think. I thank you very much for your presentation and answering all of our questions. Thank you all for being here. I invite you to carry on the conversation at the bar. Thank you everybody who was watching online again. Of course, you can't come and have a drink with us, but you're very welcome to come next week. We're a weekly event. You can also have dinner with us. I'm mentioning it again because not everybody was here, but the prices have changed for the meetup table. So it's $17.50 for a vegetarian meal, $19.50 for a fish or meat deal, and we also have the chef's choice on offer for €22. But I suggest let's go to the bar and carry it on. Thank
Nice.
you.
Thanks, Anouk. Thanks.